Hey, ladies, welcome to another episode of the Revitalized Womanhood Podcast. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm whispering a little bit because I have a sleeping baby next to me, and that's like a ticking time bomb. As my guest is fully aware, Amy is back on the podcast. Is this your third episode or second? I think it's your third. So, welcome back, Amy, one of my favorite people. And she and I have something in common right now. We are both in the throes of postpartum with multiple other children. We are in it to win it. So I asked Amy to join me today because I had a very specific conversation on my heart. And that has been, for me, I was actually going to record this by myself as my solo episode of the differences between postpartum depression and not having postpartum depression, because my last two children, so my first two, I didn't have it with either, both vaginal deliveries. And then these next two were both C-section deliveries, but I can compare. I have one with postpartum depression and one without. And honestly, I was telling Amy, there is actually some pros. I'm seeing some pros, which feels like an oxymoron when you say there are some pros to having postpartum depression in your postpartum period. So, Amy, why don't you give us a little backstory of like where you're at right now in this whole journey?
Yes, so I just had my fifth baby in September of last year. And so I am 5 months postpartum. I just, at the same time as like having the baby, was shipping our first off to college. So major emotional stuff going on there. And then I have also, three other children at home and homeschooling them and, just all the life things that you're doing, running around to the extracurriculars and all the stuff. And I don't remember. My husband says he remembers, which bless him, because I think they remember things we don't, and that's like a God-given gift. But I don't remember any of my other babies like hitting a 4-month sleep regression like this one. We're talking he cannot self-soothe. Like we are just in the throes of not getting a whole lot of sleep at night. Don't judge me harshly, people. You would think 5 months in or 5 children in that I would like totally have this figured out. I would be like old pro. But like I said, I don't remember this.
Just the fact that you said that makes me want to. This is exactly the episode we need to have. And I just heard Locke scream, "I'm still hungry." So we may have to have a break for a second. But
whatever we need to do.
Just the fact that you said that, it makes me want to come to a very important conversation about the impact social media has had on me through my pregnancy, even not even my postpartum, but through my pregnancy. And I was talking to my cousin, who actually is much older than me. Because my dad was the youngest, like by 10 years of his siblings. So his nieces and nephews are older. So when we were young children, babies, their children were all in their teens and that. So they're my older cousins. But his wife, I was talking to her and she was like, telling me, my 12-year-old, she's 12, doesn't have social media. She has her phone, but she doesn't have social media. And I said, absolutely not. I said, are you kidding me? Listen. So this is what I noticed. Me, I'm 42 years old. I am very secure in who I am and where I am in life. And I have 3 other children, but here I am pregnant, 42 years old, pregnant with this new baby. And all of these things coming in through my social media, whether I'm noticing them or whether they're subliminal, have influenced me. I started doubting myself. I started thinking, oh, do I need this new product? Oh, do I need this other thing? I told you I did it with those binkies, those stupid binkies, and they were awful and they were expensive. For 3 binkies was like $30. Like, come on, you guys. Whereas you get the ones at the store for $5, right? But I'd already gone through all these, and this is selling the binky. This is just like the breast. It will solve all your problems. And I'm like, sold. Right? Praying. They literally are. And I'm sure they have the best intentions. I really do. I'm not saying that they're this horrible company, but that is preying on the mental health of new mothers. It really is. Because like you said, you're in this regression and it's like, oh my gosh, if anything will soothe this baby, I will pay thousands for it. And then I get them, and the binky is bigger than her head, legitimately this big. And so if she rolls over, which we all know babies do, newborns sleep on the sides, right? Their little head. So it bumps it out of her. She can't even hold it in her mouth because it hits the bed. It hits the, I'm like, can I return this? And they're like, no, of course not. And I'm just like, but even not that, but all these other things, like you're not, and it's my first daughter. So I'm sure I asked you some questions too, but it's like, oh no, I can't use this kind of detergent. Oh no, I can't use this kind of soap. Oh no, I can't use all the things that now I'm so stressed about that my mother's intuition should have never been triggered by, right? I
Right.
should have just been listening to myself. I mean, when in doubt, warm water. You don't need all the soap. You don't need all the, I mean, like, that's logic coming through right now. But when you're in the throes of it, it's like you're preparing for this, something that you think is just going to save your baby or break your baby or whatever.
Yep.
So I feel that. And that made me think when you just said that about don't judge me. I mean, you would think I would know what I'm doing, but babies don't come with instructions and they are all different. And
It's so different.
I truly think we forget these things. We block them out so that we will do it again. Because if we didn't block out the pain, I mean, you know better than I know. My pain lasted until the shock came, but mothers who deliver naturally, if they remembered that pain, truly remembered, they'd ner do it again.
Well, and let's not belittle what you go through because with C-sections, your after is so much harder than my
It is.
after.
It's true.
So there's no equating. It's,
It's true.
but yeah, I agree with you. There has to, it's the grace of God that we forget it all and move forward and then go into it again like, yes, this is going to be great.
I'm so excited. Nothing's going to go wrong.
5 times now. I'm so going to get this. It's going to be easy. All the tricks I learned before, all the tricks I learned that I cannot remember a single one of.
I'm surprised you forget how to hold a baby. Like you forget. I've
So
never even seen one this small. My sister has them this small, but I never was around for that. I was moved away. And I'm like, Rick and I are so scared of this little bird. We're just like, how do you do this?
Oh yeah, I was big and pregnant and my dear friend had her baby and I went over to visit them and I was holding her baby and it was the most awkward. I was like, I'm going to have my own baby in like 3 months. This is weird. What what am I doing? I don't
And
yeah.
thankfully, I mean, most of it comes back. But what I really want to talk about is if you can think back, because you do have an extra one more than me to think back on. If you can think back, try to put yourself back in Amy's shoes, post first baby, post second baby. What were you feeling in your recovery, and not specifically in your body physically, but the mental postpartum? Because what we're struggling with right now is feeling like we're not enough. We're not enough for not only this little baby, but we're not enough for our husbands. We're not enough for our other children. We're not enough. And so our value scale is like my worth scale. So I'm wondering, can you remember to compare to how you're feeling now versus how things were back then?
Gosh, that's a really hard question because I mean, for one thing, I was such a different person then,
Yeah.
so there's that. Golly, I think I feel like with the first two, it was just such a learning curve. I feel like I allowed myself that learning curve. Like I really just didn't feel like I knew what I was doing. So that's maybe a difference that I've gone into. This time I went into it thinking I knew what I was doing.
Mm.
And like this should be easy, right? I'm telling myself the whole pregnancy, this should be easy. I've got this. Like this baby's just going to slide right into our normal schedule. It's going to be no big deal. Whereas with the first ones, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, no idea at all, and just really went with the flow for that, trying to just keep treading water every day. And this time I'm trying to tread water while telling myself, you should already know how to do this.
So there's almost a little bit of shame in that
Oh,
comment.
yeah. Oh, for
Do you know that actually works perfectly for what I was talking about with postpartum versus not having postpartum depression versus not having postpartum depression? Because what you're explaining, I think I hear, is with those other ones, you were giving yourself so much grace, whether you were drowning or not, you were like, no expectations. So what is, this just is. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just, it is. I'm learning and we're learning together, which for the same in postpartum depression, even though I had had 2 babies before and done it, now I just didn't care. My mental state wasn't, and luckily, thankfully, I wasn't in a place where I wanted to harm myself or wanted to harm the baby or anything like that. I was just kind of checked out. It was me and the baby, and that's it. That's all I could do.
Mhm.
And even with my body, I was just like, I don't even know what is happening. I don't want to think about it. I'm not even going to try to touch this. I'm just going to sit, like my bed became my island, and that was it. And so that is what I'm saying. I see a benefit in having postpartum depression like that, because you are allowing, whether you want to or not, like you're not capable of anything else, but you are, in a sense, allowing your body to heal, because you're not trying to overdo it. You're not trying to keep up on the laundry. You're not trying to keep up on the housework. You're not trying to make sure your husband is completely happy with your relationship. You're just like, nope, don't care. Right? So it is happening the way it honestly should, other than your mental, right? Your mental is a little disconnected. However, so here we are, you and I, expecting that we should know better. I feel like because I don't have that block this time, I am back to my energetic self. I believe I am doing too much. I'm trying to do more than I should. I'm like, as my body told me I was, even though I didn't listen to it, I kept going. I was doing all the laundry, cleaning the house, trying to keep up, trying to make sure I could do the kids' schedules on my own and not burden Rick with it. Burden, like how I threw that in, right? I'm trying to do all these things, but what's that getting me? I feel like I'm not doing good enough because I do have limitations.
Yeah.
And here comes the shame. Here comes the blame. Here comes the guilt. And that's, with all the coaching we've done with ourselves and with this community for the last 2+ years, oof, that is a kick in the pants. Because logically you're saying, I told you today, it's in your ego. You've got this little devil and this little angel. And over here it's saying, give yourself grace, love yourself. You need time. You're healing. And on this shoulder, it's saying, you're not enough. You're not giving enough. You're not doing enough. Your kids are suffering because you're not giving them enough attention. Your husband is suffering. Your body is ugly because it's not what it should be. Oh, horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
So how
pretty
do
darn
we
mean right now.
I mean, that's a loaded question, because the obvious answer is just consistency and over time, but I don't know. What do you have for that? Do you have something
Well,
to add in part? I don't have a question right there for that, because I know the answer and it's very simple, but it's not simple. It's
right.
it's not.
Well, I mean, one of the things that I'm just having to work on right now is shifting my mindset, truly
Mhm.
shifting my mindset, because it is so funny and wonderful that we're having this conversation, because with the struggles at bedtime, and my husband and I trying to, like, what did we used to do, like, how did we work this out? Was it this baby that did this? And, like, trying to go through it, and, like, how do we sort this out and get this going in a good direction where I'm getting sleep, and it's not just, like, totally crazy. And I was literally just, like, crying the other night, because I'm thinking, why do I not know how to fix this problem? Like, why can I not figure this out? He's 5 months old. We've been dealing with this 4-month regression for a month now, right? So, like, you would think in a month, I would have thought in a month I would have gotten something sorted out. I would have figured out, other than just feeling like I'm hanging on, surviving, because that's what it feels like every night. It's like I don't have a plan. The plan is get through the night, try to sleep at some point. Like, that's my plan. Whole thing. And and I'm like looking online, like, for help, like, what can I do? This is what's going on. Does anybody else's baby do this kind of thing? And all you can find is, hey, pay me $200 and I'll tell you all the tricks for bedtime. Nobody's out there telling you, oh, my baby, or commiserating, or like you're not finding any of the other mom communities or any of the other voices who could say, you're okay, you're normal. Like this is happening with us too. This is what we figured out. All you're finding are people you can pay for their method. And I'm like, but does your method does it even sit with me?
It's the
Like, am I
binky.
even okay with it? I have to pay money to find out if I'm even willing to use it, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
um,
Yeah, it could be
so
lather your kid with magnesium lotion.
right.
Okay.
Which I considered. I have not done it and I don't plan to because I'm like, that's a bit too far for me. It's not natural, right? Nobody was
Right.
sticking magnesium on their kids 1,000 years ago. But anyway, all of that to say that I'm like crying because I couldn't find the help I needed. And I was just in myself saying, you've done this 5 times. You should know. You should know. You should have a clue. You should have a plan. You should have something you could go forward with. And um, I got up this morning and I kind of reflected on the night. And I was like, that did not go as well as I wanted. The night before was better, just kind of thinking through it. And I realized, like, why does it have to be a certain way right now? What am I believing that says I'm not doing it right or I'm not doing it good enough just as it is? Is everybody sleeping? Everybody's sleeping the best that they can. Is this going to last until college? Absolutely not. Like I had to kind of just mindset shift and reason with myself. And it wasn't a matter of like, it's okay, honey, give yourself some grace. It was like, you can bring him in. It was like, I need to think this through. I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. You're just seeing him here. There he is.
Oh my
Look
God.
at the little
I
munchkin.
can't even stand it. He's so cute. Oh, you little sleepless baby, you're so cute. Um, I love that. I love that you said that because that's what I was just thinking was we're not broken. He's not broken. It's not something that needs to be fixed. It's just, it is. And Rick actually says this to me all the time. He says, you get to be home and do nothing, which, you know what? Because of the Enneagram 3 person I am, sounds like disrespectful to me when he says it. Sounds like condescending to me. And because of my limiting beliefs and all the things that I have about myself and my value and what I can give equaling my value and my worth, it sounds like he's putting me down by saying it. And it's like, he's not. How broken are you to think that your husband's saying you don't have anything that needs to get done? That is a blessing. And I'm hearing it as an insult. That is the mental state, unfortunate mental state of so many women today.
Yeah. Yeah. Why can't I
We
just
should,
get it all done? Why can't it just fit into my schedule and like we're just gonna go on with life as normal?
right.
Yeah. But that's just not real. I don't know where that expectation came into my mind. And I remember saying it several times in my pregnancy, like this baby's just gonna have to slide on in because we got life going here, and he's just
Yeah.
gonna have to kind of find the way to be part of it. And it's like he got here and it's like, no, wait, that's not real. I don't know where I got that idea. And I snap out of it because that's just not true. And also, when I was holding that thought and holding that mindset, and like we kind of just grip it. And that meant for me, I was not enjoying my time with him because it
Yeah.
wasn't looking like my expectation. It wasn't looking like what I thought it should look like.
Here, put this
And
closer to your mouth.
oh yeah, sorry. Is
That's
that
okay.
better? I probably shifted when he came out here.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, he's like, me too, mom. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. I can't even handle.
boy. Um, yeah. So I just wasn't, because I was holding on to that belief, I wasn't letting it be and enjoying. I wasn't able to enjoy. I was taking that joy from myself by not accepting where I am, not accepting my physical limitations, like you were talking about, my mental, my energy, and his limitations. Because honestly, these kids have limitations. He gets overstimulated,
Yeah,
and all the different things that come with any different newborn who behaves in their own way.
exactly. Exactly. So what's our advice for ourselves and our advice for any other moms listening? What's your advice for yourself each day? And I love that you woke up this morning and you sat in it. like, let's think about this. Nothing is broken. It is what it is. And how can I now today be the best version of what this life looks like? Which, guess what that's going to mean? I bet you 100%, because I just recorded my Friday episode on this. So everybody will have listened to this before this episode. Slow down and use the word no. And yes, honestly, yes to accepting help, and no to putting out your energy in places that you can't afford to put it out right now.
I want to bring in something that you say so frequently within the sisterhood, and plenty of times I've heard it on the podcast as well, as how women, like as women, we're like butterflies and we change so many different times in our lives. We are changed right now. And so expecting or even desiring for ourselves to be like we were before this new life and new change came into our world, it's so unrealistic, and it's not fair. It's not fair. We need to be, like you also always say, curious about who am I now? What's happening in me right now? And it's taking a step back and taking time to look at that and allowing yourself to be at peace with where you are.
Yeah. I love that. That's funny that I'm saying I love that because you're saying I said it, but I do truly mean it. I truly mean it. And I hope that it does stick with the women listening, because it's like I said this to you. Actually, I remember when you had first had him, I don't know how far you were in, but you said something about getting back to who you were. And I said, you can never get back to who you were. You're not the same person.
And
That
that was
doesn't
so
exist.
helpful.
Yeah.
That was so helpful. Yeah, she doesn't exist, but the new person who's blossoming right now through all of this hard stuff, she's becoming. And I need to be curious about her and stop judging her based on something that she can never be and never is now, like this is totally different.
Right. And would you ever look at me and judge me for doing what I'm doing? Would you ever look at me and be like, Gina, you're not doing that right?
Oh my gosh, what are
So,
we always telling each other? No, what we're telling each other is sit down, take a break. Why are you trying to do so much? Listen to your body. Like those are all the things that we should be telling ourselves, but we need other people to tell us.
right. Well, we need to believe it. We need to believe it. I said, so one of the things that I have a really hard time with, and you know this, is one of my I don't know that it's a pet peeve. I think it's just human nature, but it is something that really affects me heavily, is the fact that we can't do things for other people. We have to rely on other people to do things for themselves. And so it's like a parent. It is exactly like a parent watching their children fail or touch the stove or do something that it's like, I know better than you. Please just listen to me. Now, I'm not saying I know better than you in any of these cases, but I'm saying I have, if someone has lived through something and they are telling you, listen, gratitude will change your life. So start using gratitude practices, start doing it daily, start doing it whatever, or self-care will change your life. Start doing it daily, start doing whatever you can do. And to have somebody who is not even willing to try the things, it is so hard for me. So that it actually makes me have a little more grace for that right now, because I'm hearing myself do it to myself. Even though I'm doing the things, I'm not doing the stop doing the things. I'm not allowing for the just sit, do nothing. I'm not allowing for the because I feel so guilty about it. Anyway, he's being so good. So she.
Yeah.
No one even knows I've got Even next to me asleep too. She's snoozing. Look at us pulling it off.
Who would have
And you
thought?
look beautiful. Sleep
Oh,
deprived and all. You look beautiful.
the
You're
concealer.
glowing. It's that Floridian sunshine that, oh, I can't wait to get down there and get some of. You're
Come
glowing.
on. Come on, lady.
Anyway, that's so my episode Friday that's coming out Friday is all about slowing down. And I'm having, people don't realize that these podcast episodes that I put out, especially the ones that I'm solo by myself, it is literally me telling myself. These are messages that I'm telling myself. It's reminders I need in my life as I'm doing them, because that's what's coming up. I'm like, what should I record about? Well, this has been bothering me today. I'm going to record about that. And I create a way to remind myself. And this one is all about slowing down. So we're coming into that season of travel again. And Rick actually said the words today. He said, I hope you're preparing to be present and not on your phone or working or doing all these other things, which he's not saying it like you better not.
Mhm.
He's saying, I hope you're preparing. Like
Right.
he's
I want
reminding
this
me,
with you.
and I'm
Yeah.
reminding myself that I'm coming into that season. So what are your reminders that you can impart on these listeners that I know
Mm.
you're giving yourself, but I think will help others as well?
I think just what I thought about this morning, that it's okay to be where I am. Things won't always be this way. That's probably my biggest reminder right now. And what brings me through so many of the tough nights or the crying jags or the whatever is like it won't always be this way. And if I am too busy looking forward to what it will be, because then it will be better, because as soon as he can sleep through the night I will have this, and as soon as he can do this I will have this, and as soon as I get back to myself and I'm strong enough to do this I will have fun again. And I'm truly found myself missing the now. And I honestly already only 5 months postpartum, Gina, honestly I am looking back and saying I already missed so much because I was so busy looking ahead. And so that's what I would say is I want to be right here, right now, no matter how messy that looks. And I want to enjoy it and I want to hold on to it and I want to remember it and not rush through it. Because you know this as well as I do. The babies rush through, they grow. They grow as fast as they possibly can. They're going to the next stage. You get used to one thing and they're doing the next thing now. And I don't want to miss it. I've already missed so much.
Yeah, that's wise words. I know I have a pile of newborn clothes sitting right here next to me, and it's like, what? How are you already? And it's funny because I look at her clothes and I think, you're not even going to wear any of those. That's what kind of helps keep me in my, I gotta embrace this right now. She's going to just stay asleep right now. And then in the pickup line, she's going to scream the whole time. Whoops. Pick your hard, ladies. Pick your hard.
Right.
She could
No.
either be awake right now on the podcast or she can scream through the pickup line. Pick your hard. That goes with that. And actually, you said something that I'll bring it up right now. So act surprised tonight in the rally call. But I heard something that was so cool in a way of explaining. Because remember, one of my goals is to, any thought that comes into my mind, I want to flip to an abundance. So if something sneaks in that's like, Hayes is being hard, I need to stop that thought instantly and turn it into, Hayes is curious, Hayes is adventurous, he's outgoing, right? Whatever. Because he went and made a friend the other day, and I kept telling Kathleen, like, there was a friend his age and a friend Hayes's age up in Salt Lake. And I'm like, go say hi, go talk to him. And they were both a little shy, right? Oh, sister, here we go. Oh, come and see Daniel. Where's your friend? And look at those chunky rollies. Anyway, and Castle was, he used to be my kid that would just make friends, right? In different countries. I remember being in Prague and he walked up to some little kid at playground and they started playing Pokemon cards together and they spoke completely different languages. They couldn't even understand each other, but he would just like march up but now he's like too cool for school, teenage, preteen, teenage, right? And so Hayes just walked right up to the one his age, which was a girl, which would have been harder, right? Castle's was a boy, right? His was a girl. And he's like, let's go play air hockey. And I was like, good. I'm so proud of him that is something. So when he is hard and does things, I instantly am trying to, in anything, flip the narrative to an abundance, coming from abundance rather than a place of lack. Well, so I heard someone explain today one of the first stories of life was abundance versus lack. And that was Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, filled with abundance, everything they could possibly have, everything. They should have been so grateful and enjoying all of this and the happiness, and this should be enough. But all they could focus on was this lack, this one thing they couldn't have. and that damned them for forever. And it's like, what is in your life right now that is that lack that you just can't stop focusing on? You've got to change the story and see all the other abundance. Be grateful. And maybe if you can flip that narrative for yourself, you'll get past it. It's like when you focus on the thing that's bothering you, that's all you can see, right? Oh, buddy, should we wrap it up? These sweet babies, they're like, okay, give us some attention. Well, mister, thank you for being on your very first podcast ever. Thanks, lady. I appreciate you joining me to talk about this because I think it's such an important conversation, and I think people need to open up about it a lot more frequently and remind these mamas that they are going through a lot, whether they show it or not. They are going through a lot.
I love it. It's
Thanks,
a good
sister.
conversation.